This end of quarter report that you brought up before, so SwyftX has just released it this week, and it sort of covers, some of the key narratives and events that shaped the market in the last quarter. It also dives into SwyftX like trading trends as well from its internal trading data, which is super juicy. So I guess like the key events, because we worked on this report together, the key events that sort of shaped it were the October 10th liquidation, where, millions and billions of dollars was wiped out on the market because it was so over leveraged. And we never really recovered from that.
No. And it's good because I think we actually go into the why, like how did it potentially happen? So I think that's a really good piece there.
Yeah, and I think also we call out is that it's like a lesson learned for the industry.
Yeah,
like it's
absolutely.
Like you can't just get super frothy with these over leveraged positions in crypto, otherwise, they're going to be wiped out. And I think that's going to be a telltale sign in the future when things are getting a bit frothy towards the top.
Yep.
And people see, there's a lot of leverage in the market and be like, okay, what does this tell us?
Yep.
The other one was Bitcoin's decoupling from gold. So I think last year in general, like gold had a really strong year, up about 60 or 70%, compared to Bitcoin, which across the whole year was minus 2% or maybe up 2%. So pretty stable. So typically in the past, we've seen gold move first, followed by Bitcoin. And there has been a bit of a correlation there, particularly because, Bitcoin's often considered the digital gold. But we saw a bit of a decoupling there, which I don't know what you take from that, but my thinking is like, is Bitcoin still considered sort of that more risk on hedge against inflation, particularly as people rotate from gold into Bitcoin? Like, is that still happening, or has, just the last year just completely changed that?
It's still in its sort of coming of age moment. I just think like you can't link an asset like gold, which has been around for hundreds of years, if not obviously longer, a known way that people go defensive with their wealth. So that versus an emerging asset, which Bitcoin still is, like it's still not adopted, right? People aren't comfortable with Bitcoin. Like the fact that you still have to like say Bitcoin and sort of like brace yourself for what questions are going to come next from people kind of tells you that we're still a long way off like mainstream adoption. The way I sort of think of it too is like just structurally, like gold was being bid by central banks and governments all of last year.
Yeah. China
has been doing nothing but buying gold all of last year. And there's like a scarcity just from the physical aspect of it all too. So, when you got banks buying gold and people starting to buy gold, like that's why we're seeing just that crazy demand, right? Like I could say in the future, we'll probably see the similar dynamic exist for Bitcoin, but right now we're not, right? Like we're not seeing central banks in countries buy up Bitcoin. We're not seeing the average consumer really run to it. So, just not right now, but I can see it happening in the future for sure. And I think that's where, a lot of people that are thought leaders in the space, they're thinking the same. So you want to get in early in that regard too as well. But
I think as well, like another key event was the launch of the spot altcoin ETFs. So previously we've seen Bitcoin and also Ethereum ETFs, which were a massive landmark moment for the industry, but oftentimes they're sort of considered as those blue chip cryptocurrencies, whereas like it would take a bit longer for some of the more speculative assets to be launched on the stock market as ETFs. But we saw that with XRP ETFs and also Solana.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was towards the back end of the bull market, so it didn't seem to have a huge impact on the price of those. But what we saw, particularly for XRP, was the total inflows were massive. Like we didn't see throughout the whole quarter, we didn't see any outflows days, whereas people are net selling versus net buying, right? We didn't see that at all. So there's obviously a lot of demand for XRP and Sol, but I guess the market just hasn't reflected that because it's been a pretty tough time for crypto.
Yep.
But I think long term, it's definitely going to serve a big impact for them.
Definitely paves the way, right? Like we're there now. It's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But we also covered like key metrics within the SwyftX trading data. So we cover like trading volume. It was down 15% compared to last quarter. I suppose no surprises there. I think global exchange volumes were down about 10% compared to last quarter. So, pretty similar. The interesting one is the Bitcoin dominance of the SwyftX trading data versus like just Bitcoin volumes worldwide. I think Bitcoin made up about 33% of the total trading volume that happened on SwyftX last quarter. So it obviously shows that there's still a lot of demand in Australia for altcoins.
Yeah.
But I think as we move into a more bearish period, that's gonna the dominance is going to increase for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I'd just go back to the roughest moments is usually when everyone becomes like a Bitcoin maxi. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Another good way to look at it.
I'm getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah.
Another thing that I found really interesting was a generational breakdown that we provide in the report, which shows